Stateless is my life story. I was born to a Syrian father and a Lebanese mother. But 6 months after I was born, my father left. And in the Middle East and in Lebanon, where I was born, women are not allowed to register their children, legally speaking. Only the father can. But because my father didn't register me, and I had no physical proof about his identity, no picture ID, no nothing, I had no legal proof that my father was Syrian or about his ID or even whereabouts. So I couldn't claim Syrian citizenship. And because my mother couldn't register me in Lebanon, I couldn't claim the Lebanese citizenship either. So I end up in this legal limbo where no country on earth recognized me as a citizen. I might as well be from Mars. Unfortunately, statelessness is not that unique. There are probably 12 million stateless people around the world, and these are the ones maybe registered with the UN. God knows how many more. Because there is something you need to understand. Stateless persons in Lebanon are treated worse than animals. Stateless people live in camps or on the streets. They get abused on a daily basis, and nothing does anything about that. My name is Fadi X. My name is Fadi Chalouhy. My name is Fadi Musa. Take your pick. I come from a small village called Darbashtar, which is situated in a state called Kura in North Lebanon, which is a small country in the Middle East, right next to Syria. One of the most important moments and memories of my life happened when I was 13. It was actually kind of a wake-up call. I told my mother I need money, and she said no. And being a 13-year-old kid who just want to play, I got angry, I started crying, because I just not wanted more money. I didn't see the bigger picture. And I still remember that day as if it was yesterday. She was smoking, my mother. She turned off her cigarette and she grabs me with all her strength and she takes me to the kitchen. And I didn't understand what was happening. So she opens the fridge and she tells me, look at it. What do you see? I didn't understand the question, like what do you normally see at the fridge? What was I looking for? So I start naming random things, bread, milk, cheese. And she told me, do you see these? This is the only thing I could ever give you. Anything else you want in life, you need to go out and get it yourself. All I can do is give you food. And being a 13-year-old and hearing that, it made me kind of feel a huge sense of responsibility. And 3 weeks after that moment, I started working. And I never stopped working ever since. And I never took money from anyone, not even my mother's, ever since that day. So at the age of 13, I found out how hard my life is gonna be. You would never associate the word statelessness with future. You look at me and unfortunately I am the anomaly. If you go and just search the word stateless people, you will see homeless, criminals, dead people, sold, abused for body parts, organs. This is the life of a stateless person, brainwashed to join terrorist organizations because they have no purpose, they have no hope. No access to healthcare, no access to educational systems, you cannot find a job, no social security, no insurance. From a legal point of view, if you shoot me, if you kill me, you wouldn't kill anyone. If you weren't registered with the UN, nothing will happen to you. You didn't kill anyone from a legal point of view. I remember I used to be detained because they didn't know what to do with me. Who would I call? What embassy? I'm no part of any country, so who would care enough for me? And I wasn't associated with the UN back then because I didn't even know stateless people have rights. So future is not a word I would use to describe statelessness, to be honest. Statelessness, from a legal point of view, have no right to an education. Of course, there are some charities and organizations the UN could help, but back then, we didn't know what the UN was. It was early 90s in a remote village in Lebanon. But luckily for me, my mother was the janitor, or cleaner if you want, at the local Catholic school. And she just pleaded with the nuns. All she ever wanted for me was to get a fighting chance. So the nuns agreed to allow me into classes just to basically read and write. Luckily, or lucky for me, I was good in school. That's mainly because growing up in a Catholic school where my mother was the janitor, I didn't go home straight away after school. I need to wait for her to finish all the cleaning, so I used to spend 3-4 hours every day after school. And my mom's way to get rid of me was just to chuck me in the library and tell me, read whatever you want. And this is what I did. Not to mention, not only education, I never got injured, and thank God for that. But imagine have I had needed a surgery of some kind, or maybe some medical assistant. No insurance, no social security, no hospital would take me in. I would have died on the streets. I was lucky. So after my mom died, I made a decision. I was born in Lebanon, but I was not gonna die in Lebanon. So I started to search for options overseas. I emailed every embassy. If any kind of celebrity has any association with statelessness, I emailed them. I emailed the UN, UNHCR, every organization on earth, just waiting for someone to give me a solution. And I've had a lot of dodgy solutions come my way, but if you knock on enough doors, someone's about to answer, right? So this is what happened. An organization did answer, and they asked me questions that were different for me, because everyone else would ask me, what can we do to you? Do you want food stamps? Do you want financial assistance? Do you want medical assistance? And for me, no. I want a permanent solution to my problem, and that is statelessness. And this organization told me, what can you do to us? What are your skills? How can you be an asset? And so an interview process started, and the catch is, all the people who interviewed me at that organization did not know I was stateless. So for them, they were just interviewing me on base of merit and skills, and this was perfect for me. I aced all interviews and I passed with flying colors, and the job offer came through. But that was just the beginning, because how do you get a stateless person with a job offer legally outside of Lebanon and into Australia? And this is where this wonderful organization came through to me. They actually moved mountains, they hired a legal team, and I could spend actually an hour just mentioning the people and organization that had to work together just for me to get out of Lebanon. In the end, they managed to get me something called the laissez-passer, which is a Lebanese travel document. And through that, I managed to use it and exit Beirut into Sydney. As I walked through custom here in Australia, I actually felt like a free man. And the first impression was the Australian official looked at my laissez-passer, no reaction, no questions, nothing, no surprise even. He just smiled and said, welcome to Australia. And this was a huge mountain off my shoulder, because 20 years of being pulled over, being questioned, why do you have this name? Why don't you have an ID? And for the first person, someone actually looked at my document and had no problem with it. I was ecstatic. And add on that, there was an army of people waiting at me at the airport, from my organization, from the talent companies that introduced me, friends, relatives. It was just amazing. I felt like a rock star. It was probably one of the happiest moments of my life, because I felt like I made it. I felt like I was born. It was like a fresh start. I would like to say thank you for Accenture for saving my life. You moved mountains to get me here. You gave me the chance to actually dream, to change my life forever, for giving me this amazing chance to actually live my dreams and my hopes. If it weren't for you guys, I'd probably be stranded back in Lebanon, or even worse, homeless, dead, or behind prison bars. I have no idea of where I would be. And no matter what I do or how much I say, you will never understand or grasp how thankful I am for this. Thank you for taking me in and making me part of your family. Thank you very much.